Hey, bro.
Huh?
Let me ask you a question, man. Why you ain't change clothes, bro?
Let me ask you a question. Every time you see me, you gotta ask me a question like you 50 Cent asking people 21 questions.
But, bro, you gotta have some hygiene,
Let me
man.
ask you, did you take a bath last night?
Of course, and that's what I'm telling you, man. You gotta have some hygiene,
Well,
man.
congratulations, because I'm homeless and now I have the luxury to take a bath every night and wash clothes like that. So be grateful for what you got and stop always talking about people and stuff. That's what's wrong with people. They always talking about people instead of trying to help them and stuff. Just thank God that you able to take a bath and change your clothes every night. I might have them on the next day and the next day and the next day. That's between me and God. You worry about yourself. Any more questions?
You good,
Oh,
bro.
all right, that one I thought. Have a blessed day.
If you're tired of being censored on social media, join 60s.net. It's black owned, black operated, and black moderated, and we make sure it stays a safe space for us to talk about all things black culture. We also got some cool gear like the FDM cotton crew neck, the Fearless Ancestors tee, hats, and more. Check us out at 60s.net.
Hey girl, why are you so sad?
I just got banned from Twitter again.
Should have been on 60s.net. Ah.
What would you think about a parent whose children are hungry? They let them starve. Likewise, here in South Carolina's 6th Congressional District, we are the 6th poorest district out of 435 total as of the year 2021. And yet, where is our Congressman, James Clyburn? I can tell you, he says he will be in California, in North Carolina, and Florida, and Georgia. But what about the needs of South Carolinians? I was born here, I was raised here, I live here, and I'm going to be here. You will never have to ask, where is Marcel?
Tick faster, that'll be the hour they knock the slick blaster. Dick dastardly, a Muttley with sick laughter, a gunfight and they come to cut the mix master ice. And living the true gods, giving y'all nothing but the lick like two broads. Got more lyrics than the church got ooh lords, and they hold the mic at your attention like two swords. Or you the one with two blades on it. Hey you, don't touch the mic like it's AIDS on it.
All right. Welcome once again to the Beatzilla PDX official show. I am your host, Beatzilla PDX officially. And this is the weekly wrap up. All right. So as y'all are coming in, please like and share. If you have not already subscribed to this channel, please do so at this time and go hit the notification bell. Hit the word all so you'll be notified anytime this broadcast goes live or a video is uploaded, which there was 2 of those this week. So hopefully you caught yesterday's uploaded broadcast. We were in the chat. So I seen, people in the chat pretty heavy. Those are off camera broadcasts, and those are also shorter. But as y'all know, for those of you who have graced my comment board, there have been requests for shorter videos. So, in accommodating my viewers, I offer the news breaks for those who can catch it in short snippets. So those will always be less than an hour. So, and then if it's a brief, then those will be like less than 20 minutes. So briefs, breaks, and then, of course, the midweek report, and then the weekly wrap-up. So let's see who we got here. I'll let everyone in the chat. I see Samuel Logan, Desmond Works, Nikki the God, Dominique Devereaux, Tia to you, Aon Mayat Bay, TJ, Rayvon Johnson, Roderick Allen, Judah Queen, Silent D Productions, Oyela Arquette, S. Mont, Dark Skin Brother. All right. Rahami Bay. Tim Samore in the house. What is going on? All right. And again, shout out to my chief moderator. I seen her early in the chat. So if you guys saw the first message in the chat telling you to do what? Like and share. So again, this is one of the smaller platforms in the Voices of New Black Media. But sometimes you just got to know the little engine that could. Kid Gravity Beyond. What is going on, my brother? We get shadow banned nonetheless. We get our streams interrupted. And if you've been following me for a little while, then you know this definitely happens here. So, hey, the truth is the truth, and they definitely want to prevent it. But we have some more coming tonight. So, with that being said, one of the things we're going to do is discuss this week's issues. But of course, yesterday was Malcolm X's birthday, and everybody gave their specific tribute broadcast. And of course, I figured I would wait until my Friday broadcast to play something. So I got something that we're going to play later in this broadcast that I think you all will enjoy. Um, it's something different. Typically, when we hear Malcolm X speak, it's always traditionally in a speech. Well, tonight you are actually going to hear the King brother in a debate with call-ins. Oh man. So you are in for a treat tonight. Let me tell you. Oh Lordy. So first things first, all of the copycat stuff that's been going on. Matter of fact, I had to put my glasses back on for this one. I had to read this. There is, where's this at? Okay. So there's like this copycat. Well, I don't know if it's a copycat situation or not, but nonetheless, we have an epidemic. We are clearly dealing with an epidemic of crazed individuals. Brother Afro Elite in the house. B1, my brother. And with these crazed individuals, man, we have another story of a man accused of pulling out an AK-47 at a Burger King because of the wrong order. It says a Moorfield, VA man, West Virginia man, faces multiple charges after officer says he pulled an AK-47 at a Burger King in Moorfield last month because of the wrong order. Let's see. So this cat gets a chance to do this, and now this is the case later. So this actually didn't just recently happen. Officer with the assistant manager who said an incident occurred on the day prior where a man and woman ordered food and received the wrong order, according to the criminal complaint. The assistant manager told officers, according to the report, the man later identified as Eric Ferris, age 28, called the restaurant and said he was going to shoot up the establishment with his AK-47. The altercation allegedly involved Ferris, his wife, and an employee at the restaurant. When officers called Ferris and asked him about the incident, he reportedly became, quote, very irate and upset before handing the phone to his wife, who denied a firearm being involved. Take that with a grain of salt. The police report says Ferris was in the background of the call saying he does not own an AK-47 and called Burger King to apologize for the altercation. Yeah, obviously they didn't buy that because he's been charged. So yeah, they weren't going for the, oh no, that wasn't the case. See, this is one of the other reasons why you are watching some of these people flip out. They feel like they're losing power. Well, what it is as your numbers thin, your privilege fades. You know, it's all natural order and natural selection until natural hits the unnatural. Then all of a sudden you start hearing complaining. We're losing everything. Yeah, well, and now we're trying to figure out who we want to lay the blame on about the great replacement theory. And see, one thing that oh man, it's the Republicans, it's the MAGA, it's Trump. No, it is white supremacists. Guess what? Joe Biden's one of them. You know how we all know about what I keep playing all week? And we're going to play again tonight because I think everybody needs to know what we are talking about when we say how you break down someone who is actually firmly believing in this theory. And this is the damn president.
This country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. You hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics, who make up a larger portion of the population than y'all do.
In a nutshell, that right there, my friends, is what these people believe. Now, if those people believe that, and the Azov Battalion people believe that, well then, what would make us think a person here that sees you shelling out billions of dollars to Ukraine, who you already know is infested with Nazis? Well, so you have the neo-Nazis. There you go. He said, let's go, Brandon. Right. And here's the thing for us. This is one thing I want black folks to firmly understand. And I think we're at a time in history where it is time to seize the moment. Black people, we owe nobody anything. White supremacists on the left, white supremacists on the right. It makes no difference. And anybody dealing with us has to come with the checkbook in hand. Period. We need some protection, and we need to be broke off, or we have nothing to talk about. Let the cookie crumble. You know, people up here trying to hold this system up because y'all really don't want to let white folks lose. White folks lose power. What we gonna do? Oh, Lord. I mean, they've been good to us. We got too many of these people around here. You have to, you know, a lot of us have them in our families, and, you know, I'm sure you have them where you work. If you work around other black folks, you know you around some cool. That's just the order of things, isn't it? So let me see. So let's go to this white woman telling on herself. And this is another thing that's happening often. So before I play that, let's set it up with this.
To put it in the frame of reference, everyone, when they talk about racism and white supremacy, should always start by saying that the focus, the objective should be replace white supremacy with justice. Those are the 5 basic words.
All right. Now, with that being said, let's hear what's happening as Frantic Karen kind of tells the truth.
That's why we have a country. That's why we have Georgia. That's why we had our founding fathers come over here and destroy American Indians' homes and their land. They took it. Look at what they went through, Native Americans, for sacrifice, for us to have the freedom we have today.
Yeah, I'll say sacrifice, going in and slaughtering other people to get their land because you are he that keepeth not at home. Because of the typical nature. Now, see, understand, there is nothing that can ever happen in this world at this scale without a mass agreement. So for anybody to come at black folks and say, hey, you can't say this and that, hey man, everybody's been in agreement that we should be on the bottom. You watched us be on the bottom all this time. I mean, what do you want us to tell you? That, oh, hey, we ain't sleep no more. We recognize what time it is, and hey, this ain't cool. Matter of fact, here. I mean, but hey, man, don't take it personal. Take the bitter with the sweet. Easy come, easy go. Man. And I mean, hey, man, this has been heaven for somebody. Damn sure been hell for us. Let's take a look at this real quick. And I'll just play a little piece of this because I'm sure y'all heard a little bit of this story. This place is showing itself. It's showing itself in no way that it has ever been done before. I mean, if you know how we have cartoons and shows and stuff, and they'd be like, "Ooh, if these aliens and people out there in the universe are watching Earth like a television show." I don't know. So, as we know, most series have the grand finale. Or you can go out like some black shows and get none, and you're just off the air. Like a thief in the night. So check this out. Here's some more racists losing their mind, demonic white supremacists showing themselves, and the mass mainstream media trying to do their best to not identify the true problem. And now that they're having to actually identify it because these people are saying black, 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 we're targeting black people, we're racist, we're not crazy, we're terrorists, and we hate black people. It's making it real hard not to acknowledge that. Here we go.
I'm Sheriff Michael Filicetti, Filicetti. I'm going to give you an update on a graffiti case that we're handling, a racially motivated graffiti case that our agencies were handling in the town of Niagara. First, I want to let you know who's up here behind me. Lieutenant Jeff Spears from the town of Niagara Police Department, Officer Alex Wagner from the town of Niagara Police Department, Lieutenant Colin Sweeney from the New York State Police, Investigator Don Ganane from the New York State Police, Special Agent in Charge Stephen Bologna from the FBI, Brian Seaman, the Niagara County District Attorney, Susan Bjornholm, the Assistant District Attorney from the DA's office, and Lieutenant Eric Geisler from the Sheriff's Office. On Monday, May 16th at approximately 7 a.m., a resident in the 4600 block of John Street called to report a criminal mischief to their fence. The town of Niagara Police responded to investigate the crime. It was discovered that a large racial statement had been painted on the fence. It said, "Kill all," followed by a racial expletive, and that was spray painted in all black letters on the homeowner's fence. It should be noted that the residence there is occupied by a black family. Town of Niagara Police were instrumental in gathering evidence and information relevant to the case during their initial
Never would have guessed.
The Sheriff's Office Criminal Investigation Bureau was contacted to assist in that investigation. For the last 5 days, our Criminal Bureau, along with the New York State Bureau of Criminal Investigation and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, they've worked together on this case. After much effort and good work on their part, an arrest was made today of Howard J. Murphy. He's 60 years of age and he lives in the town of Niagara. Murphy's being held here at the Niagara County Correctional Facility pending centralized arraignment. Murphy was charged with criminal mischief in the second degree as a hate crime, basically because this crime was committed based upon the occupants of their residence, their race. With the hate crime designation, the crime was raised from a D felony to a C felony. This case is also being reviewed at a federal level to determine if any further charges are warranted. I want to add, I need to commend our Criminal Investigations Bureau, our partners from the town of Niagara Police Department, the New York State Police, and the FBI for bringing this case to such a quick closure. Within 5 days, they've closed this out, and they've held the individual accountable for what they did to this family. Right after the arrest, I did speak with the victim, the homeowner, and he was very happy that this individual was caught and he'll be brought to justice. He's very upset that this happened to his residents, but he was very thankful for the efforts of law enforcement. And certainly, we're all well aware of the incident in Buffalo, the tragic incident that happened last Saturday. Within 2 days of that, this incident took place. There's no place for hate in this community, in the Buffalo community, anywhere. And we're going to take these complaints seriously, and we're going to bring them to closure with an arrest, and we're going to hold these people accountable that want to do this. Again, there's no place for this in our community or anywhere else. So if you think this is a good idea, I would tell you to think twice, because we're going to put all of our resources together to bring this to closure with an arrest. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to our District Attorney, Brian Seaman, for a few remarks.
And that's all I wanted to play of that, because I just wanted to show y'all again, all of this, like, this isn't new for Black people. What they're trying to do is act like, oh man, it's just catching this rising phenomenon. It ain't. It's never been. Let me see. I'm looking for a definition. Let me see. Because remember, the book that I was talking about, and I've been talking about, the Roman McClay book, Sanction. So I wanted to look into how he was using the word. And it says, number one is give official permission or approval for an action. In this thinking of being replaced, do you not think that we're hearing a call of action anytime that someone would mention that in the wind? I mean, that's legitimate to think, right? I mean, again,
this country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. You hear me?
And that is someone who absolutely subscribes to the great replacement theory. So if that's the person who says, I'll give billions upon billions of dollars to help Ukraine, and then get you and your Black churches to start saying, hey, let's pray for Ukraine. Well, then what are you under now? To me, it sounds like you are participating on your own dismantling. But we sound crazy, huh? let's just take a look at this real quick.
Her comments about this shooting. We're talking about State Senator Wendy Rogers, who was actually censured earlier this year after making threatening comments at a white nationalist rally.
And tonight she is facing another Senate rebuke after pushing a conspiracy theory about the racially motivated shooting in Buffalo. Political editor Dennis Welch caught up with her today. Dennis.
Yeah, and the Senate voted today to launch an ethics investigation into Senator Wendy Rogers for promoting a baseless conspiracy theory that claims the federal government is responsible for the mass killing.
Yeah, I know how baseless, that you could just easily throw away and throw out that word baseless. If this didn't happen.
This country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. You hear me?
Yeah.
Just hours after 10 people lost their lives in a mass shooting in Buffalo, Arizona State Senator Wendy Rogers posted this cryptic message on social media. Quote, "Fed Boy Summer has begun in Buffalo."
Fed Boy Summer's like whatever, sounds like a freaking Broadway play.
But Matt Browning, an expert on hate groups, said Rogers is actually promoting a dangerous conspiracy theory, suggesting that the federal government is behind the racially motivated killings and trying to use the deadly violence as justification to seize control.
Basically, she's saying, here we go again. They're making up another thing. They're going to take our guns. Anything that they can do to take our guns. Oh, and we're going to blame it on a white guy. That's basically what all that is.
Since the initial social media post, Rogers has condemned the violence on Twitter, while also accusing the government of promoting violence and warning that, quote, everything is not what it seems. On the Senate floor, we attempted to ask Rogers to clarify her comments.
Senator Rogers, do you have a second to give us a statement?
While Rogers blew past us without saying a word, her opponent in the upcoming Republican primary, Senator Kelly Townsend, did not hold back.
She's become the face of this, conspiracy theory, racist, anti-Semite, and when they want to talk about these things, they point to her.
Now, as a result of her comments, Rogers now faces another referral to the Ethics Committee. Now, that vote took place today. It was 24-3. It was bipartisan. Now, Democrats did attempt to expel Rogers, but that motion failed. Again, Rogers has already been censured once this session for threatening colleagues. Now, the debate over enabling and encouraging white supremacy is reaching the highest levels of the Republican Party. Today, Liz Cheney pointed the finger at some of her colleagues. Her tweet saying GOP leaders must renounce and reject these views and those who hold them. Now, Cheney's home state of Wyoming was the site of another recent deadly shooting, also tied to white nationalists. In the newsroom, Dennis Welch, Arizona's Family.
Well, she has.
Here's the thing about that for me. You're noticing all of these anti-black racial attacks. Yet and still, you only trying to focus on white nationalism. Now, of course, as of recent, everybody is hearing the fact that we are absolutely shoving it down your throat. Give us our protection bill. We're long overdue for it. We're the only group in America that should have been chosen first for it. Yet, we have watched other groups waltz in onto a land reaping benefits that they don't have ancestors tied to build. And so if anybody's talking to us, they need to be talking with absolute respect. We owe no one anything, and that's how we rock over here. T. Clay, Louise, Aboriginal woman. Welcome, welcome. All right, so let me get this next joint in here. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So meanwhile, while everybody is talking, trying to find some way to pivot away from addressing what the black community is screaming, and that's why, again, you keep seeing Al Sharpton ran out there. You can't just fight for your tribe. If you don't think they're paying attention to what's going on with the grassroots and understand the impactfulness and the impact of the grassroots on the world right now, the black grassroots, that is, black, foundational black American, freedmen, your tribe on Twitter. I mean, so you're getting nonstop attention to black issues. That's the one thing that I'm saying. I can that's good enough for me. I don't expect everybody to be perfect. I don't expect anybody to be perfect. But what I do expect is at least be on code and make sure that our issues are in the forefront. Now, of course, everybody has their different reasons, but for those, especially for those of you who have a passion for it and do this for the love of it, salute to you. But to those who are trying to come over here and tell us that we need to gather together and we need to understand, we need to get our own candidates and this and that, and the other. And then you turn around and send somebody out trying to besmirch the one candidate that we actually support. Imagine that. They're going out of their way. But in the meantime, they doing this to us, folks.
$40 billion in aid to Ukraine.
That assistance includes money for military and humanitarian aid, as well as medical support for Ukrainian refugees. Efforts to send aid to Ukraine have largely been bipartisan, but some Republicans have been withholding support over the amount of aid in this package. A big day today, and joining us now with more is CBS News Washington reporter Caitlin Huey-Burns. Caitlin, good to see you. Can you give us more details about what's in this bill, and now that it's passed, how it will help Ukraine at this point in the war?
Hey, Nancy. Well, this is a $40 billion package, a huge number, and it's a mix of humanitarian assistance, but also military assistance. So it's going to provide more military equipment and training for Ukrainians in this fight against Russia. But it's also going to help with food insecurity. It's helping with refugee resettlement, helping with housing. The aid is expected to go through September, which is the end of the fiscal year, raising the question about whether more aid will be needed at a time in the future. But for now, both Republicans and Democrats are saying that this is critical aid, and the president has been pushing for this, and they say that this will need to be passed, or they're glad that it's been passed today, because that will mean that there won't be a gap in funding.
Right, and as we said earlier, Caitlin, this bill is something the Senate wanted to pass last week, but it was held up by Kentucky Republican Rand Paul. Has he been satisfied? Has his initial objection to the bill been satisfied?
Well, he wanted more oversight over how this money is going to be spent. And the bill does have a provision that provides some oversight, but he wanted a specific inspector general for that. So he held up the fast track attempt of this bill, but this bill was able to get passed today. Now, there are 11 Republicans who have voted against this measure, and that's significant because we're starting to see a splintering within the Republican Party when it comes to sending aid to Ukraine. Remember, in the early days of this conflict, you saw Republicans, by and large, really coalesce around the idea of trying to do everything they could to help Ukrainians against this Russian invasion. And that was significant at the time because they were pushing away the foreign policy essentially under the Trump era, which was focused on America first, was questioning NATO alliances, questioning American involvement overseas. They had pushed that to the side in the beginning of this conflict, but now you're starting to see that reemerge, at least among some Republicans. Now, the majority of the Republican conference is supportive of this. This is something that Mitch McConnell, fresh off a visit to Ukraine, has been pushing for. But this is important to keep an eye on, whether there are more Republican defections down the road. The longer this drags on and the more questions arise about how open-ended this conflict is. And it's starting to play on the campaign trail as well among Republican candidates. One Republican running for Senate in Nevada has been lashing out against the Democrat he's running against for supporting this bill, saying that there is more money needed to spend on programs here in the United States and not overseas. So look for those tensions as we progress the further into this war.
Caitlin Huey-Burns, thank you very much for joining us.
Hooey. So they don't want to have a gap in funding. Yeah, can't have a gap in funding in a war that you should not be in. I mean, that's, again, telling on yourself and saying, hey, yeah, by the way, we're funding this war. This is our war. We have to keep funding this war. You have all these Americans. Now think of what we used to hear, government spending, all the government spending and the government programs. What program is in America that is allotted specifically for black folks that has billions attached to it? See, right now, here's another thing that's been taken single-handedly with one presidential term, an argument that's completely been wiped away out of white people's conversation. Can't take any handouts. In one term of a presidency, and we're still trucking along in it, he took and wiped away single-handedly typical white supremacist tropes. Ain't that a trip? By being a white supremacist. So he's so old that, some of the things are just coming out. And it's good. It's good. Very, very, very good. You see, let me make sure. So check this story out.
We begin with a community still in mourning.
I ran through the door and I just seen bodies everywhere. And everywhere you turned, it was just another person laying on the ground. It was blood everywhere.
Anyone could have been here. And it is just, and it just hurts. Our community is in pain. We're mourning. We as a people, as a community, we are fed love. We love one another. I don't care how many times we fight and argue, we still love one another. You don't see us coming to y'all communities killing people, shooting your daughters and your mother and your aunts and uncles. No. We know that.
Got a problem with that line right there. I got a problem with that line right there. You gotta be careful of these people, what they use. Understand, man. They are pulling out all of the stops, including paid for crisis acting coons. I'm going to replay that. I just want to know if you can catch what's wrong in what she just said. Let me know if you can catch what is wrong in this negress babble that she just spewed.
Love one another. I don't care how many times we fight and argue.
Laying on the ground. It was blood everywhere.
Anyone could have been here, and it just hurts. Our community is in pain. We're mourning. We as a people, as a community, we are fed love. We love one another. I don't care how many times we fight and argue. We still love one another. You don't see us coming to y'all communities killing people, shooting your daughters and your mother and your aunts and uncles. No. We know that racism exists.
Ooh, yeah, When you hear that, I think, like, well, what about Chicago? To me, that comes off as, we love y'all. We love y'all. We only kill one another. We don't come over there and be killing you. We just stay all up in our own neighborhood and be killing one another and stuff. See, she smoke screened it with the love, love, love. And then we only be staying in our own neighborhoods and handling our business with each other. I mean, that is, to paraphrase what she said, that's what the hell you just heard. And she tried to sneak that in. Did you catch it? We love one another. We be loving. We don't come over there to be harming y'all. We stay over here and just have all this black on black crime. White supremacy takes both sides of the argument and they are on cold, sending their little mammy plants, get them right on TV, on their media, on their mainstream media, to put this out there to the world, because we love y'all. And, I mean, shoot, we don't be coming over to your neighborhood. We would never do that. We just gonna stay over here on the south side and pop off one another. We ain't gonna be bothering nobody. Sugar butt. Jesus. Oh man, this is painful, man. But family, be on the lookout for this, because you're gonna start seeing this a lot. Because this is not by accident. All that whole spiel she gave was not by accident whatsoever. We just be killing one another, but we would never look to go mess with you, Jesus.
Love one another. I don't care how many times we fight and argue. We still love one another. You don't see us coming to y'all communities killing people, shooting your daughters and your mother and your aunts and uncles. No. We know that racism exists, no matter how people try to sweep it under the rug of something that was happening that long ago is not. Like, this is an ongoing issue with this country. This is domestic terrorism, and it needs to be called out as such. And there is a war on Black communities in this country.
Whoops. Always peep. Now, they got a black woman out there supposed to be grassroots, but she's using different kind of verbiage. We know this is domestic terrorism. Yeah, we know this is domestic. No, this is anti-black violence. It trended on Twitter. Domestic terrorism did not. I mean, anti-black racism was literally trending on Twitter. She gonna get her butt up there talking about, yeah, domestic terrorism. I haven't seen a legitimate person hit that camera yet, except for maybe the first little girl, the first young lady that was talking about seeing bodies everywhere. Lord, I don't know, family. What y'all think? Does this feel funny style to you? But who cares? I see you laughing. Don't this feel funny style?
Residents in Buffalo, New York are still processing the loss of 10 of their own to a racist, hateful mass shooting. They were joined Tuesday by President Biden, who, alongside the First Lady, visited a makeshift vigil. During his speech, the president mourned each victim, condemned white supremacy, and called the attack a clear case of domestic terrorism. The president's visit comes as we learn more about how lethal and brutal 18-year-old Peyton Gendron's plans were. The Washington Post reports he planned the attack over the course of several months and visited the grocery store he attacked in March to monitor.
Can't help but notice that woman went out there talking about domestic terrorism, not anti-black violence. Then what happens? Joe Biden's talking about domestic terrorism. Man, I'm telling you, I've been trained to spot these people. And I mean, man, that's why the hooey. Yeah, this don't pass the smell test, man.
Monitor the store's security and map out its aisles. And an NBC analysis of online chat logs that appear to belong to the shooter suggests he considered attacking other locations, including an elementary school and churches. So just think about that for a second. The shooter wanted to turn places of peace and refuge for communities into beacons of terror. His intentions made even clearer through his manifesto, in which he repeatedly cites a man from New Zealand, a white supremacist shooter who killed 51 people after attacking 2 different mosques in New Zealand back in 2019. And that was his inspiration. Over the last few years, we've seen places of normalcy turned into backdrops of terror. As NBC highlights, just in the last week alone, we've seen that every day settings like grocery stores, hair salons, and churches are no longer off limits. Joining me now, Reverend William Barber. He is the co-chair of the Poor People's Campaign. And Reverend, I always cite you in that you identified very, very early on that we would live through another redemption-like period in this moment, post-Obama, and the emergence of Donald Trump. Speak to that parallel in American history when Reconstruction ended, but also when the Civil Rights Movement and that progress and the backlash to that. Where do you see the connections between prior moments in American history where there was progress made, and then there was a racist and violent backlash as a response?
Well, violent was late. And it wasn't just about people hating somebody because of the color of their skin. It was about hating policy, because the redemption movement of the late 1800s said we have to take our country back. And by that, they meant take voting rights back, take any kind of educational progress back, take political power back, because they saw those things as a threat to their existence. You see, in that mindset of redemption and destruction, anybody's gain is their loss. And so we saw it, and it culminated with the president in the White House quoting the movie Birth of a Nation as good media. What we're seeing today, the way former President Trump spews this language about something being destroyed, and preachers talk about wokeism and being against that, and the target of critical race theory, and Tucker Carlson and Fox News and all the people that sponsor them, allow him to promote all of this racist rhetoric. It's like
My bad. Show this to your family members that might be questionable coons, and really, because this is one that all week. They need to watch these broadcasts that I have put out all week long. Getting education. These people don't fool with you the long way. And this pork chop preacher right here will absolutely sell you out. Because all of that he sold you about Trump, and the MAGA this and the MAGA that insight. No, partner. I just said $40 billion is going over to the Azov battalion. This dude
This
did
country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. You hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to.
Anybody talking to you like that is absolutely a devout white supremacist. We got these double-minded traitors amongst us who know this and will come out here and start trying to talk as if black people's issues are tied to a political party. We have to learn how to get these people out of our presence, out of our way, politically, and in this realm of thought, because people like this affect our family members' thinking, and we have to really just look at it for what it is. Anybody who can sit up here and tell you this, these are the same Negroes that were sitting in that damn meeting. So while they're going to sit up here and sell you Joe Biden as if he is not subscribed to the same racist trope and theory that all of these devout shooters are, see, here's the difference. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. See, what Joe Biden did incited mass shootings because they're subscribed to the same theory he is. And when your president says gaslit terms and gaslighting terms such as we are doomed. Now here, let me paraphrase everything else. Because of the invaders and because of the invaders and because of the invaders, pretty soon the Eurocentric man will be will be a minority. And when you say minority, that means you're looking at what it's not genocide. It's just you fading out of existence. It's natural annihilation by way of lack of regeneration. Why do they encourage black folks to cut off regeneration so much? That should start making a little bit of damn sense versus what they're telling or trying to sell you. But even look at this. They warmed y'all up to even start prepping your minds to ingest all kinds of bullshit. For instance, you actually, in this day and age, can be shamed for a person playing dress. Let me not even say it. Let me not put it that way. Because I totally agree. Whatever your preference is sexually, cool. But this trans thing, you are wanting people to identify you as how you identify yourself. That means that anybody else has to participate in what you're doing. See, a person of a lifestyle, okay, that person's gay. That's a lesbian. That's this, that, and the other. Even if you're a crossdresser. And up until recently, we had the whole trans community who was cool just being trans. We knew what it was. It's not like it's new. But it's this new theory that you're pushing on people to say, call me something else. No, that's participating in deception. It's a sneaky way to put everybody by proxy under a low vibration. Why? Because it's based on deception. You know what the hell you were born as. That's why you have to change what you are. That's the whole point of being trans anything. So, when you're looking at that, you want somebody else to ingest your belief while always shunning others. You don't want anybody to mislabel you while always labeling others. I have no respect for that. None. And as me knowing if you and me are born as the same, if you ever disrespect me, I will treat you as such. Whatever you consider in your mind is your issue. You disrespect me, that's your issue. You carry yourself accordingly. I see a lot of wild stuff out here. But here, you better understand, all the people who push this nonsense are all together. They're all in the same group, and they have not been a friend to the black community, although they say how much they love you. Well, I don't need your prayers. I need your bank. Need to put that one on the shirt, don't we?
Woodrow Wilson in the 1900s saying that the birth of the nation was good history. And that, what did it show? It showed that somehow black people working together had done the nation damage and it needed to be taken over. And what did it lead to? Violence. It led to killing. It led to attacks on communities. So we see this happening. Even, my sister.
You hear this, dude? Now he's going to say Donald Trump's long gone, dude. And it wasn't so. And Donald Trump, as far as if somebody out there has any recording or video clip of Donald Trump saying that America is doomed because not just because of the blacks, but because of all these other darkies that'll be coming over here. And pretty soon the white Hispanic man will be a minority in this country. See, here's another thing that y'all keep missing in this. White Hispanic. Why is he saying white Hispanic? See, all of a sudden, you're looking at white Hispanics. They tried to thicken their numbers. So the first buffer class that they chose is still thinning. Damn it. You can't make this up. So please, by all means, play this for your family members. Get them some truth in their life, because it ain't Donald Trump that said that. It was this guy.
This country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. You hear me?
Who? Minority white European. Oh, even worse. European. Yeah, man. But man, they've brought out this great replacement theory. What are you saying? No, dude. You are hearing your very president talk. He's basically speaking from the theory. Jeez. You ain't gonna, man, anybody selling us this needs their ass whooped. For real.
That somehow black people working together had done the nation damage and it needed to be taken over. And what did it lead to? Violence. It led to killing. It led to attacks on communities. So we see this happening. Even, my sister, public policy today is too often framed. Voting rights is framed as an attack on democracy. Somebody stealing something. We have to stop them. Healthcare is, they're going to take away from you. They're going to break the economy. It's played off in racist terms that somehow what they want to promote is that America didn't have a racist history and black and brown and poor people are just takers. They must be stopped. And the replacement theory pushed to the nth degree means somebody has to be killed. Because if you're going to replace me, and eventually you got to get rid of me. This is a very dangerous time with rhetoric and a society where you can easily weaponize somebody with armor and guns of mass destruction who get caught up in this. This is not an anomaly. This is something that is sown over and over again, and this is why we see it playing out.
One of the things I think a lot about is something you said recently, which is the folks who amplify what you call death-dealing language, the folks that spread hate speech and incite violence in this particular way. I mean, how do we marginalize those people? Because they're not going to disappear into thin air. It's not like magic. So the role for the rest of us who believe in democracy, but also in at the end of the day, human dignity, that everybody deserves.
Now, here's the line in the spiel that, see, this is where you have to be really observant. Look at what you see on the screen. Aside from myself, well, including myself, you have 3 black faces on the screen, don't you? You could clearly trust us, huh? Right? Because we're 3 black faces looking at you. Don't we have your back? See how they sell it? Do you see how they sell it? So watch. The white supremacist agenda is about to come out because it's 2 black people looking at you. You got the black woman and the black preacher. So you have both strong elements. And look at her hair. She's there in the afro. They're in the power stance. They're in the power formation to go ahead and make you, get you Negroes in line. Don't you be going out there burning up stuff. Get out here and pray and hug and cry. So we're about to hear it. I mean, just look at the stance. The power, the power whip is coming. Oh, Jesus.
Human dignity and life. How do we marginalize those voices that are death dealing?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we have to point out the death dealing in language and in the policies. One of the things I'm saying to folks, when we're talking about denying health care and living wages, we have to talk about how people die. People died, for instance, in the pandemic because of the refusal to treat poor and low-wealth people in black and brown and poor communities right. We got to call it what it is. Secondly, we've got to challenge these funders, these corporate sponsors that sponsor these networks that spew all this stuff all the time. We look at this, not just Tucker Carlson, for instance, is who's behind him, who's funding him, who keeps him on the air. Thirdly, we must have a moral reset, and that's why on June 18th we're having this mass poor people's low wage workers assembly moral march on Washington to the polls. I didn't know this.
This sucker ass nigga here. Are you kidding? This nigga need to be swung on.
Got to watch these old niggas.
Jesus.
Got to watch these old niggas.
Oh, play that again. See that? Oh, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord. I don't know what is going on here. Well, also, let's hit this real quick because people need to understand.
We have to take this thing seriously. We are at war. People destroy us. And the first battlefield in any war takes place in the mind. Whoever controls your perception of self has already won the battle. So we've got to be serious. I also understand that not all of us are prepared to be serious. Not all of us have the mental capabilities of being serious because of all of the things that we've been consuming that have destroyed our brain cells. So that's a reality.
Okay, now let's go back to what we see. Now let me show you the optics they're using right now. So they're showing you this preacher He has on his little ecumenical badge, shirt on, whatever. Now they done went from the strong, natural head looking black woman. Now they're showing you the police. How did we get here? Now they are literally showing you the police on the screen. And all these people are doing, notice how they're talking about rhetoric. This country has been plagued with white supremacy for years. Actions, not rhetoric. Jim Crow, actions and laws. Redlining, actions and laws. All your freeways that tore up through black Wall Streets and prosperous black areas. That's the government. And society that got into government to ensure the perpetual making and forcing black folks to be the underclass was maintained. Any nigga coming out opening his mouth in 2022 talking like this is an enemy, and is an enemy to your very existence, because this person will sell you out no problem. And truth be told, let's just talk on a minute real quick about this black church. I'm done with these Negroes anyway. Let me talk about this. We have to understand why our community is in such disarray. And the black church was a target of the government to control, because that was where all of your civil rights and your organizations and your food programs and even your little educational programs, and because some people use church buildings for schools. Well, now the state is in business with the church, so the state dictates what can be said and what can't. So that also at the same time, you switch to prosperity preaching when your church is sitting right in the ghetto. Preaching to people for their own detriment, and you have an offspring of those children that you thought were going to grow up and do what? Starve and stay in that damn church that keeps them poor? Hell no. They finna go out there, go get them a sack and hit the strip and go make it happen, because they tired of it. And on top of that, they got a long time of seeing how Jesus ain't fixing it. And then just to turn around, and as soon as they think they're going to show up in your church, they get harassed because of how they're dressed. Pull your pants up, and all of these young people in the streets, and all of this. Well, guess what? A lot of them people have grown up. And a lot of those people are the people who are involved in these mentoring programs for these youth. Hell no, they're not going to fool with you. Why would they? You shun them first. So you got a whole generation of people who have nothing but disdain for you. And all you got to show for it is you in league with the white man. Don't ever ask your neighborhood or your community why they don't fool with you when you failed them so grossly miserably. You turned into the politicians. Everybody turns their back on black folks. You get a little bit of money, what happens? Turn their back, right? Well, this is a new day and age, and we're calling in receipts. We call it in debts. And right now, there's a whole bunch of seats out there that have empty bodies in them. You guys are just zombies. white supremacist puppets. You definitely do not speak for us, and you definitely do not represent our interests. Matter of fact, what you represent to us is absolute hatred. And you would rather come to us and lie for a person like this.
This country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. Hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics, who make up a larger portion of the population than y'all do.
Let me tell you something. Dogs run the yard now. You got real true alpha males out here, and there's a bunch of us. And I, myself, personally am known to be one of those who definitely doesn't give a damn. It's us or nothing. I'm not looking at no other group. I'm not looking for nothing. You owe us this, and this is for us because this is who we are. Any other conversation that we want to have is going to be outside of that. I'm not ever finna be, well, what about this? What about that group? As far as I can tell, we've been sitting up here in America. Ain't nobody give a damn about coming to get us. So either break bread or kick rocks. And I'm telling y'all better start having this attitude. So when these people start bringing all this nonsense to you, man, cut that off. Because I'm sorry, but stop letting these old Negroes come out at you with the whole, well, we got to be, no. If you're scared, ain't you? Well, go ahead. That's all right, mother or elder. Have a seat. It's your time to rest. There's a new generation that wants the wheel. We got this. Y'all cool with what y'all were able to do? We're not. We need to further that. You're cool with us staying stagnant. No, that's not how this is supposed to work. You got somewhere, now we're supposed to take it somewhere else. But see, that's been the whole problem. We're in a generation where the government knew we were coming. Because that's how movements happen. So you know there's going to be another wave. So we're the ones that they were fearing this whole time. Makes sense, I guess. But nonetheless, we are the generation that they were fearing. Why? Because we don't give a damn. We've lost it all anyway. And so if anybody coming over here talking to us like, oh, man, you guys is... Here's another thing. How many woke people were amongst the slain? Y'all better start taking note. So next time you think you have something slick to come say to one of us in this foundational Black American, Black First, pro-Black space, before you open your mouth, just remember, this is what we think.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
You understand? Because if you ain't on code, you're relevant to this right here. I know other people may be a little more lenient than that, but I'm going to tell you like this. You still, in your mind, think it's time to play it. Well, hopefully, let me not even say that. Let me not even say what I was about to say. Let me not say that. But I'm going to tell you like this. I absolutely have a great disdain for coons. I have a great disdain for coons and a great disdain for sellouts and traitors. You could always tell the traitor and the sellout because they'll spend all their time trying to make your life something it's not in their mind. But that's a natural born liar. So that person is always a useful tool. Gotta just be mindful of who you have around you. Because I'm telling you, these folks wake up every day, go to sleep. This is their prayers. And every day it's successful because they just know that one time is going to be it.
Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us.
Oh, that's too funny. That is just too funny. But I'm telling you, that's how they see our unity. Oh my God, they're getting on code. Why do you think everybody's trying to figure out how to weasel their way into the reparations conversation? Because we ain't taking no for an answer. That's why you got these people coming out here in the woodwork talking about, oh man, you know they ain't gonna give you nothing. Bitch! Who you think you around, man? Who do you think you around? Oh, no, they ain't gonna give you nothing. Hey, look here, coward. People had to die in a war for you to get off that plantation in the first place. Shut up, wake up. It's gonna take being a little more than a prayer and a hugger. I mean, if nothing else, at least use your voice. I just use my voice to lift up the name of Jesus. It's another shirt that we're going to have to do. They need to be swung on. I'm telling you, that shirt coming soon. Oh, do you understand how much we get set back by people like that? I've been part of different things that could have really matured into something, but there's always scary, sniveling coon around me. Man, I don't know, man. I mean, you know, man, shoot, what you think the white folks gonna say? That's where you at with it, bro? Okay. Now, look at here. We have these weirdos out here with that are in these. I don't know how they get voted in. Who's voting for these people? But they get up there in front of these podiums and start again. Sometimes they tell on themselves. This one here, and she's actually proud of this because this is something she put up on her own Twitter. Like, yeah, I told them. Okay, sister girl. First off, you ain't black. And our issue is about a bill. So listen to what she sneaks in because she's trying to do that, oh, I'm with y'all thing. But we don't need a bill. We don't need new law. Oh, we got laws. We don't need no new law right now. Peep this.
Young, 77, who was killed by a white supremacist while grocery shopping in her Buffalo community. Please look at Mother Pearl. Look at the other loved ones who were murdered. For 25 years, Mother Pearl ran a pantry where she fed people in Central Park. She loved singing, dancing, and being with her family. It is incredibly hard.
Okay. Also, can we just address this one part first real quick before I let this go on? Mother Pearl, ma'am, you did not write this speech. Shout out to your black speechwriter. Mother Pearl, you don't stop.
Breaking and honestly just sick that black folks in our country can't even grocery shop or go to church or march against police brutality without being targeted by white supremacists. White supremacy gets a pass in our country, and I've had enough of it. Prayers are not enough. We don't need new laws exactly in regards to white supremacy. We need the will and courage to take on white supremacy as the threat it is within our country. The resources are there, but the courage is lacking.
I know who wrote that. That's Simone Sanders. Even in the cadence, you could hear it. Let me run that back. This is Simone Sanders' speech. Simone Sanders wrote this shit. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a
Central
minute.
Park. She loved singing, dancing, and being with her family. It is incredibly heartbreaking and honestly just sick that black folks in our country can't even grocery shop or go to church or march against police brutality without being targeted by white supremacists. White supremacy gets a pass in our country, and I've had enough of it. Prayers are not enough. We don't need new laws exactly in regards to white supremacy. We need the will and courage to take on white supremacy as the threat it is within our country. The resources are there, but the courage is lacking. So I ask my colleagues, let's do more in making sure that we push for that courage to face, again, this threat that we have in our country that is incredibly deadly. I yield.
Truth be told, sister, what you're literally saying is, truth be told, if we're looking at that realistically, that would tell one to possibly get into exercising their Second Amendment rights, get into their training with their Second Amendment power tools, and, invest in Ring cameras and everything else that you can make sure your family and loved ones are safe and secured. You understand? But contrary to this woman and her fake speech here, black folk can't if you don't stop. Don't y'all know when you hear, see this, that's a ghostwriter, okay? That's ghostwriting at its finest, but she even still like, I'm going to put a black sin on it. When I get to this part, black folk. God, I don't give black folks no credit. Yo, there's smart black people out here and we're hip to you. Jeez, they just be talking to us like we stupid, don't they? Y'all don't need a law, though. We just need the courage. Oh, like that plan? Oh. Well, hey, let's examine courage for a minute. Where is that at? What, you talking about courage? Oh, well, imagine that. And Dr. Khalid Muhammad's 7-point plan of action, well, step number 2, self-defense of the black community, build a people's militia. Imagine that. So think about that. There is protection right there. Do you think they're willing to give us the protection that we're deserving of, though? So what would they do if we had courage and started protecting ourselves for ourselves? Oh, I think there was a group that actually has done that in America before. How did that turn out? Oh, that's right. Y'all still have some of those people in prison today. You still have people on the most wanted list today. Black woman put on there by the first so-called black president. Well, no, actually, let me correct that. And I can say this one in actuality, by the first African-American president of the United States of America. Barack anti-black, I hate niggas Obama. Like I said, make sure you play this broadcast for the potential cool family member that needs to be talked off the ledge of absolute vaudeville level cooning. Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime gal. I love chicken. In the meantime, we have, them trying to blame Tucker Carlson. It's like, come on, damn it. That ain't the case. But here, let me play this real quick because they are doing everything that they can to get away from what it is. It is white supremacy, white supremacists, and anti-black hatred. It's anti-black violence, and it's anti-black racism because these people who subscribe to the great replacement theory are in and have already been full initiated into a anti-black war. To concede to anything less is a disrespect to our people and our very existence, and we need a protection bill ASAP that protects us as a specific group, since only one specific group built this damn country and the White House to which this person stays in. But let's also look at this because this also comes into play.
Weekend were undoubtedly traumatic for the people who experienced the gunfire firsthand.
And traumatic really overall, so much for people to process, especially when a certain racial group or ethnicity is targeted. Ariana Manise spoke with a local psychiatrist about the emotional toll of these unthinkable.
Here's the convenient part for them right now, because they spent so long trying to make us the face of anti-Asian hate that now they actually legitimately get to use the Asians in our situation. But they're acting like when people target other groups. When they were doing that whole Asian AAIP thing and getting them money, there was no. Matter of fact, the one thing they did was blame the black community. Now all of a sudden, oh man, it's just the same. No, it ain't. We were different then. Let us stay different now. Don't rope us in together now.
Attacks.
It's just hard to not really have such an emotional, gut-wrenching response to these things happening. As you can see, I'm still have quite a lot of raw emotion about what happened.
3 down inside so far, 2 outside. Put as many cars as you possibly can.
The country's latest mass shooting at the Tops grocery store in Buffalo Saturday left 10 people dead. And people are expressing their own trauma on social media in the wake of this tragedy, after police shared the 18-year-old suspected gunman came up with a plan to target black people at the supermarket.
There is definitely a gut-wrenching reaction when we hear about people being hunted based on their race and shot and killed.
For clinical psychiatrist Dr. Dion Metzger, she says that's just one way for people to process their pain or trauma.
Some people go through something that we call avoidance, where they basically need time to fully process it and be ready to talk about it. But there's other people who process trauma openly, where they like to kind of have an open discussion about it, whether it's on Twitter or any kind of social media platform or Facebook, where you're able to really just talk it out.
Dr. Metzger says everyone handles trauma or pain differently, and adds if someone's being quiet about a devastating event, that could be that person's way of processing things. Although she does point to a few signs where a person may need some help.
First, if you notice that somebody's just isolating a little bit more, they're a little bit more quiet, or they're just, not coming out, just being more isolated. That's a first sign. Second thing is if they're self-medicating. Very often when things like this happen and they're so scary, we want to numb ourselves to it.
As people remember and reflect in their own way on those lives that were taken in Buffalo, Dr. Metzger offers this advice if images are somewhat overwhelming just days after the shooting.
In this day and age, we have so much exposure just from our phones that we can really get on see all of these images, see these videos, and it's okay not to click. It's okay to avoid. It's okay to scroll past. Just remembering that, right now, especially within the week of it happening, protecting our peace is so very, very important.
And Dr. Metzger says she hopes the conversation across the country will shift toward why these racially charged mass shootings keep happening and really zero in on some solutions. She says
reparations and an anti-black hate crime bill. That's how. We're not trying to appeal to treat us better. Put a law in place like anyone else. That's how you deter it. Stop talking to us like we don't deserve a law. Well, how do we get people just to, you just gotta hope to pray for the best out of people, I mean, we just gotta appeal to folk.
it is important for parents to go ahead and talk about these tragedies with their kids who are middle school age and above and answer any questions they might have.
All right, there we are. We're back. We're back. Okay. Don't know how I got kicked out like that, but all of a sudden this was tripping, so I'm assuming we are going through one of those other nights with StreamYard. And, as we are seeing, that's another thing. These platforms that a lot of us black content creators paid for typically we're having problems that we're not noticing out of other content creators. But we all seem to have the same issues. Go figure. Yeah, who knows? It's neither here nor there, Oh, Lord. That was the end of that video anyway. So, once again, we are back in the house. This is the weekly wrap up. You are here with Beatzilla PDX official, and we will be right back.
Tick faster. That'll be the hour they knock the slick blaster. Dick dastardly, a Muttley with sick laughter. A gunfight and they come to cut the mix master ice. And living the true gods. Giving y'all nothing but the lick like two broads. Got more lyrics than the church got ooh lords. And they hold the mic at your attention like two swords. Or you the one with two blades on it. Hey you, don't touch the mic like it's AIDS on it.
MC007 said the Democrats has been doing the replacement ideology. Absolutely. They've long been doing it. And those have been the people who have mostly been perpetuating it. But you got to remember, they're doing the same thing. That's why all this money is going over to Ukraine. And then they're trying to get them here as well. You understand? And next thing you know, we're going to be having all of these issues. But so we're going to go through I was going to say, I'm hearing a alarm over here. Hopefully it's nothing, family. But we got to make sure things are on the up and up. So let's see what's going on. Lordy me. so check. Yeah, can y'all hear the alarm? Somebody be fooling with the alarm in this complex. I have no idea what was going on. And it's not even on this side. Oh, Lord. No, they checking it out. I think somebody's playing with things because, I live not too far from a college. In one of those paid private ritzy colleges. So we got a bunch of spoiled, actually, truth be told, about a bunch of well-to-do spoiled immigrants who can afford to come here and go to this high-price ass school. Imagine that. So when you talk about replacements, it clearly ain't us. Oh my goodness. So let me see what's going on, family. Let me do this. So I'll be right back, family. Let me play this break and see what's happening. All right. So bear with me, family. We got a situation. Hopefully it's not anything too serious, and it's just somebody being punk ass kids. And we don't have to vacate or nothing, but I will be right back.
This is a gentle reminder of all the things you can do. Only you can shine your hue. Some people tell you what they want you to hear. When they do, it comes through very loud and clear. You have a vision mission in the eye of your mind. As the sage saying goes, seek and nine shall find. Don't allow unsavory thoughts in your head. Fill it with these fabulous ones instead. Winner, done, joy, promise, triumphance, and glee. This is what I say to thee. Remember, when you walk in your own special gate, you're gonna have the ones they're gonna hate. Look up to the sky and know you shine like the sun. When it gets too busy, just know you can always come back to the one. Come back to the source, yeah. Oh, 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 yeah. Your mind is sound, thoughts are valid, they do matter. Know your truth, the truth within. Your heart will never shatter. Hold your head up high. Be confident as you climb your ladder. Remember, only you can do what you do. Come on, light keeper, gonna illuminate your hue. Show that smile, the one with the joy and the fun. When it gets too loud, just know you can always come back to the one. Come on back to the one within. Hey, hey. All right, lovely people, it's time to sing along, long, long. Let's walk in thine power. Sing, sing. Walk in your power. Hey. Blessings will continue to shower you. To shower you. As long as you shine your light. Go on and walk. Walk in your power. Yeah, yeah. Blessings will continue.
blessings will continue to shower you. As long as you shine your hue, yeah.
All right. Well, we're back. Still got the alarm going off and more of them going off. Doesn't seem to be any kind of smoke or smell of smoke anywhere in the neighborhood. So we have, I guess we're going to have to do the show, with this noise. Hopefully this is just not too loud. But, I mean, normally when these things go off, because there was a glitch not too long ago, but it's happening in like all the way on the other side. Somehow, this is literally going off right outside of my front door and on the other side. So I'm hearing so crazy. Oh, goodness. But we're going to get through it nonetheless. And so next I had to play this for y'all.
You think about this race replacement theory that he talked about in this manifesto. There are people who are pushing this hatred on these young people, indoctrinating their minds to go out and commit violence.
Replacement theory is the idea that white populations, both in North America, here in the USA, and in Europe, are being replaced by minority populations, largely through immigration.
If you suggest the Democratic Party is trying to replace the current electorate, the voters now casting ballots, with new people, more obedient voters from the third world. But they become hysterical because that's what's happening, actually. Let's just say it, that's true.
It's extraordinarily serious in part because of how far it's gone and how deep into mainstream culture this these type of white supremacist talking points have gone, right? Because we hear them on Fox News, we hear them coming out of Tucker Carlson's mouth, which a lot of people are talking about right now, but we also hear them out of Republican politicians.
Fundamental to this is a zero-sum notion of power and benefits and rights, that if minorities, if immigrants are given rights, or if they're given benefits, material benefits, the only way that can happen in this worldview is if that's taken away from them.
I and all of you reject the lie. I call on all Americans to reject the lie. And I condemn those who spread the lie for power, political gain, and for profit.
Damn shame. Now, what's so crazy about it is that really right what's going on. Nino Black in the house. One who cares. What else did I see coming in here? Oh, dark skinned brother too. CH464, to you. I see Tanya Zion made it. All right. Y'all, I'm sure y'all still hear that. And I mean, it's amazing. Imagine that though. Now, also right before I started, Esma, what's going on? An Aboriginal woman, peace, peace. Before I started, it was a loud, uh, some kind of truck on the street, just being loud. Oh man, oh man. But you know what? If for those who've been following me from the beginning, if y'all remember when my very first broadcast was like one of my own, it was my very first podcast. And that was the only one I did without unobstructed sound for like a year and a half. Right after that is when the workers came. And then there was construction work literally in the back of my recordings for a solid year. For a solid year. But now since I've moved to the evenings, things are a little different. So you got to do different things. And so, the things you go through, So check this out. Van Jones is trying to come out. These people are really trying to come out and tiptoe around talking about what it really is. How, of course, New Black Media speaks the truth for what it is. We are not pulling any punches. I see people who put other black folks' names in the titles of their videos, but then they won't, when it comes to white people, they're spelling it some funny style way. Y'all don't see me do that, do you? I just find that funny. You'll literally put a black person's name in it, but when it comes to just even calling out white people, you don't even feel comfortable spelling out their name. Just because somebody can rah, that doesn't make them a warrior. Being a warrior makes you a warrior. Learn the difference.
White men are acting out their anxiety disproportionately with violence and with mass violence. You don't see white women doing it. You don't see Latinas doing it. There's one group of people that seems to be acting out its anxiety, especially violently, and the system seems to be responding especially gently.
Damn, Van, you came right out your mouth, Coonan. Who you think raises these little bastards? The white women? They ain't off the hook, pimp. Well, they're acting on. Who you think is nurturing them to be aggressive little demons? We just gonna act like that ain't happening? I don't know what I'm watching. If somebody is having issues on this broadcast, you might just need to refresh because I have one thing over here that's literally keeps stopping. So clearly they're messing with this broadcast because they do not like what we say around here because we call it how it is. This isn't about just black men or white men. This isn't white men acting out their aggression. No. No, these white women birth these children and nurture these children, which are little males and little female children, to perpetuate this system. It requires both parties being on code. Here's another coon that needs to be slapped because he's coming out here lying to people and lying to black folks and everyone else, trying to make it seem like, oh no, it's just this white men are acting out. No, sir. What about the Karens? What about the Karens? You understand me? Now, understand, there are going to be Like I said, we have like white allies all the time. We got Richard Sudan and all of that. What's funny about that is, see, even those white allies, they talk like we do, not like people like Van Jones and the rest of these mainstream media puppets.
If you had this many Muslims shooting up stuff, I don't think there'd be a mosque in the country that's not being surveilled or whatever. I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that if any other group of people was behaving this way, this consistently, there would be a different level of urgency about how to fix a problem. If it was, if Black Lives Matter was shooting up people every weekend, I don't think Black Lives Matter would be here. If Muslims were shooting up people every weekend, I think a lot of Muslims would be having a lot of bad days. I don't think white guys walking down the street right now are worried that they're somehow going to be swept up in a dragnet. So there's just so many layers to this.
No, it's not. It's just simply called systematic white supremacy. It is not new. Okay. Well, looks like we got firemen that are checking on things. So hopefully this alarm just they turn it off and there's not an issue. Who knows? Who knows? But that just lets you know we bringing the heat tonight. And again, shout out to the elder Dr. Neely Fuller, and for this good reminder and refresher that everyone needs to firmly understand what our objective is.
We put it in the frame of reference. Everyone, when they talk about racism and white supremacy, should always start by saying that the focus, the objective should be replace white supremacy with justice. Those are the 5 basic words.
Straight up. But
let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
And you're absolutely right. Biden influencing terror. That's Biden doing. I mean, you get up there. What's so cold about it, though? Biden, y'all ain't understand. That's why I keep playing this. Biden is such a staunch anti-black racist that he will literally use the Great Replacement theory as a talking point to a Zoom room full of black leaders and saying, hey, y'all, hey, you black people, man, this place is doomed. Not just because of all of you, but because of all these other darkies coming in here too. Man, I mean, at the end of the day, man, us good white folk gonna be the minority. What y'all gonna do? That is the highest of heights of condescending conversation. And then they gonna turn around and send the little black minions out, the same black minions out, to come tell us, hey, y'all should look over these Republicans and Donald Trump. This is 2022. He's been voted out since 2020. What y'all talking about? What y'all talking about? We watching billions of dollars, $40 billion, and an extra $100 million today on top of that, going to Azov Battalion and more neo-Nazi bull in a country to where is across the pond in a conflict to which they actually started by way of crooked business going on against them, against Russia at Russia's border. I mean, just look at the way these black folks will come lie to black folks' faces. What do you think the white folks is doing telling us about them over there in Europe? You shouldn't believe nothing they say. That's why I started having, let me go re-examine who these so-called fascist people were in history. Because it seems like they're a little different than the fascists today. Because you start looking at these people's ideals and systems and how they operate and carry themselves now, it's like, well, wasn't what they was trying to destroy? Maybe I missed something. So, it kind of makes you look at something. It's like, well, wait a minute. And here's how I always approach things. When it's coming from this power, the powers that be and whatnot, first off, I take everything as, well, first off, you're the devil. So everything that you're saying, I have to look at it as, well, number one, the devil is speaking. Right? What the hell was that? Okay, looks like they got that fixed. But nonetheless, this is your guy.
This country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. Hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics, who make up a larger portion of the population than y'all do.
Anybody let that old man talk to them like that cannot lead me, cannot speak for me, and can never represent me in public. You don't speak for me, coward. You let that old white man sit up there talk to you crazy like that. I don't give a damn if he's the president. Have some spine, man. But see, here's the point. Representation don't matter because that don't represent me. So what representation? Yeah, we got the same skin color, but we definitely don't have the same heart. And clearly do not have the same convictions and connections to who I will fight for, because them cowards ain't fighting for anybody from where I'm from. None of them. All of that Congressional Black Caucus can do is kiss my ass. Nothing else. I don't want to hear nothing from them bootlicks. Every last one of them can go. Right now, they're up here talking about student loan debt. Proposing, we got to get over here to student loan debt. Black folks is literally talking about getting a bill passed for us, and the people to whom are supposed to be presenting that bill are so busy worrying about everybody across the board. Y'all should be furious. Y'all should absolutely be furious. These are the people that claim to represent you and claim to have some kind of moral integrity, but are willing to sit up there and sell you under the bus to get you to vote for this person who is subscribed to the very same theory that is inciting the violence against you. This is the worst kind of betrayal. And any black person sitting up there standing in front of you talking that, man, you better understand when you hear the devil and your enemy talking, even if they don't know it, thinking they mean you good. What can a fool do for you? Because that's a person that will deny the truth. What can a fool do for you? Learn how to recognize it. It's not hard. Get these people out here talking silly and stupid. So, and when I say talking silly and stupid, we're going to get into the Instagram reel portion of the show before we get to the delightful treat I have for you with this interview. And we're going to listen to that now that I know everything is good. And we are going to listen to our elder, the great, yes, like I said yesterday, his birthday was his birthday, Malcolm X. Malik El Shabazz. Yesterday was his birthday, May 19th. Today is the 20th. But I wanted to go ahead and nonetheless tribute this show to him because what you're going to hear tonight, you hear right now kind of everything that we talk about collectively being combat and fought the exact same way with the same fervent vigor. So, but like I said, when you get cowardice and you start buying and feeding into all that BS that they want to push on us, you start dumbing yourself down. And sometimes you just start talking stupid. We're going to have to get these people out of our midst as well. Take that microphone up out their hand. You dig? Because they might end up sounding something like this nut here.
What do you say? I believe in whatever the woman wants to choose to do, that's her choice.
At any point of the child's life?
At any point of the lady's life, that's her choice.
To kill another person's body?
It's going to always be her choice.
Even after the baby's born?
It's always her choice.
So if they're 2 years old?
It's always her choice.
I can kill my 2-year-old?
It's a woman's right to choose.
To kill their child at any point?
It's a woman's right to choose.
Lord. Where's this other one at? There we are. Yeah, it's a woman's right to choose. Yep, just take that little toddler and go ahead and execute that little toddler because it's the woman's right to choose. Yeah, ma'am. You'll go to prison for that. That's called murder. Next thing what are we talking about here? But you understand how what I was saying earlier, when you start participating in other people's deceptive lifestyle, once they start lying to themselves and forcing you to lie to yourself about what their lie is, hell no. You are putting yourself into a low-level vibration and also introducing confusion into your own logic and reason. Better combat that demon and tell it to kiss your ass. Don't let them people shame you into doing shit that you know you shouldn't be doing. Damn them. It's okay to say no, I ain't doing that, and it's okay to stick to your conviction. Kiss that man, let him kiss your ass. You do not live for anyone else but yourself.
Day, is that a pretty close approximation of the pronunciation?
Nut.
Arambide?
Arambide? Okay. What do you say a woman is?
I believe that everyone can identify for themselves.
Okay. Do you believe then that men can become pregnant and have abortions?
Yes.
Let's hear that one more time.
Let me just see if I can go to Miss Arambide. Is that a pretty close approximation of the pronunciation?
Arambide?
Arambide? Okay. What do you say a woman is?
I believe that everyone can identify for themselves.
Okay. Do you believe then that men can become pregnant and have abortions?
Yes.
MC007 said them white folks are not giving up that power easy. Who cares? See, when you're stronger than any individual that is an obstacle in front of you, what even gives you thought of worrying about what they will give you or not. I don't. But I know the line of which I come from. That ain't in my makeup to even concern myself with those worries. Do you see why we're getting the results we're getting? Because there's other people out here who think just like me. Can't concern yourself with what they ain't gonna do. Because guess what? When you make somebody do what they say they ain't gonna do, they start doing it. See how that work? Stay on your square, player. Because all the real ones over here do. Ain't no wavering us. And that's how you should keep it and stay there. Ain't no waiver. They ain't never gave you shit. What you think? You think is maybe y'all got us confused. We're not asking. Demanding is what you are witnessing. Not asking. Well, y'all, we not begging. No. This is a very clear-cut demand. With also, so much so, a person in front of Congress's doorstep saying, hey, there's people over here that got my back to want to change some things here. So what would I be talking about? What somebody's going to give me or not? Or they're not. Of course they don't. But I could give a damn about a coward's heart. You better know your enemy. Why you think they're over here jumping on old ladies and children? They're not coming to the office. They're going to soft targets. And right now you have your mind in the mind state of worrying about what a beta will do and give you. I would advise erasing that part out of your thinking. If you really want to stand down pat as a real true one. Because that right there, that type of talk to me, I've seen so many people crease. And it's that type of, I just know, I'm not saying, you might not be that. And I'm just saying, but that type of talk, I've never seen it produce anybody that will stand 10 toes down all the time. Never. So I would advise strongly against that line of thinking. Because I've never seen it prove itself beneficial. You did? CBC well, see, Congressional Black Caucus is not there for themselves. They are there for us. See, this is the whole reason why we have a Brother Marcel. Because their time has expired. What you need to ask yourself, are you ready for what's happening now? Or are you still attached to what was and afraid of the future? Because we are not. I can concern myself with nothing that anybody's talking about what they won't do. Because you know why the black media runs the yard now? Because of what we will do. And that's all that matters. See, when you take power, you take power. And a person that tells me they're not ready to take power is the person that has in their mouth concerned about what somebody ain't gonna give them. If somebody's giving you something, that automatically tells you you desire no power. You see the difference in why I don't consider what someone's going to give me or not? Understand what the mind state and the lifestyle is of one who takes power, who's built to take power, built to teach other people how to take power. But the one thing you can't do is be double-minded. So that tells me that there are still certain elements of faith that might be a little misplaced. In the meantime, look at your enemy.
Man, sorry.
Suspected white supremacist has a bag full of dirty needles trying to randomly stick black people with dirty hypodermic needles. And we want to influence their Indian givers. Thank you. Facts, influence. They are Indian givers. So don't worry about what somebody ain't going to give you or give you, because they done gave shit and took it back. Went through and killed the people that they gave shit to in the first place. Don't trust these people. Said check the tattoos as well. Yes, indeed. So you got all of the white Hispanics on code, protected, and the suspected white supremacists. They ain't going to let no harm come to him. While this dude is trying to make all of these black folks out there victims of whatever disease. I mean, because you know how devious these demons are. So he probably went straight to the little AIDS unit or whatever and running out there trying to give people stuff. Damn demon.
But the one on the floor had a bunch of needles and stuff, but he good.
Look at that. A whole bag of needles. He needed, man.
That man, he admitted, if you open up here in a minute, me watching the whole thing, he's falling on the back. He's breathing. I'm not going to try to put the color.
We would have prayed for him and hugged him. We would have gave him a lot of prayer. Yeah, we would have gave him a lot of prayer. That's all I could say. We would have hugged him and gave him a lot of prayers from the left and the right. And I had to lay the holy hands and feet. Because, you know, we know how people be liking to pray and whatnot. You know, we shall be overcoming. Yeah, be aware of your surroundings. And I mean, hey, man, we have to just keep it a buck. White people are dangerous. I have a friend, like a homegirl said that to me years ago. And that's what she was talking to me about. Why? She's like, shoot, we don't be kicking it like that. Or, shoot, white people dangerous. Hey, we keep it real around here, man. Is she lying? You know how you be at the job, you know, you got them white folks be ear hustling and over here trying to figure out what you doing in your life. So she was getting ready to go on vacation or whatnot. Oh, what you finna do, girl? Oh, I'm just finna go here with my mama. And tell them people nothing. Shoot, girl, white people dangerous. Oh, Lord. Rain, love. I live in Harlem. I heard it is gentrified like a mug up there. You got White Becky, you got Star, you got a Whole Foods up in Harlem. You know they gentrified up there. Starbucks and Whole Foods in Harlem. I'm telling y'all, first time y'all see that weird white person walking down the street and the white woman's comfortable enough to walk her dog, it's over his ass.
In Jacksonville, FL by a Caucasian male who was on a racist rampage.
Wow. Again, family and sisters, you know, if you don't have that no means no, you need that pepper spray.
I was attacked at a gas station in Jacksonville, FL by a Caucasian male who was on a racist rampage.
I'll say. Yeah, ladies, again, you said you have jail. Good. You got to get the, that no means no. You understand? You gotta get that no means no on him. Oh boy, make him jump. Yeah, boy, that fire make him jump. Woo! Yeah, she should have grabbed her. She probably so freaked out though that it was like that whole incident's even happening. Because I mean, what are the odds? I'm just run up on somebody in the store. That's crazy. But you're right. Because I mean, like I said, make sure you paid attention. That no means no. Power tools. And ladies, 20 the Walther 25. Do you just right? 22. Walter P 22. Yeah, that'll get you in business. How the tips to shoot just fine out of that. Yeah, do you right. Safe is very safe. It's a very safe firearm. So not too big, not too heavy, but trust me, the funk will make you jump. So here's some more. There's some more silver tool. What the F was that? Some white man losing it. Just going off on a random tirade, attacking the first black woman. Again, soft target. Black, and he is attacking her from behind. Keep telling you, cowards. Cowards. I ain't gonna consider what a coward gonna give me or not. Hell no. That's why they're sending out all of their little butter biscuit minions now. Hey man, we got to look out for just the LGBTQ and the Asians and the Martians and the Galgamax and the crab people. Jesus. Ooh-wee.
Is the father's black, you're white, and he'd never mentioned issues with race before, you're saying? What exactly changed?
Right. We didn't have issues before. He's in 8th grade. They introduced this critical program, and now he's having racial issues that was not there before.
What kind of racial issues is he having?
Well, he's seeing himself just as a black man. He's seen things that don't go his way as racism, and he's finding safety in numbers now.
So when you're saying he gets a bad grade at school, he blames racism, or a girl rejects him on a date, racism, are those the kind of things you're seeing?
Yes, I asked him to clean the house, racism, yes.
You're kidding, right? Or are you serious?
No, I'm serious. They have totally changed.
First off, critical race theory was not taught in your damn school. What happened with your child was he started coming into his own, because let's keep in mind that your child, for all intents and purposes, is a black man, Becky. And here's even more so what's wrong with this. You felt comfortable coming on national TV to ish all over your own son. Woo! And we wonder why these little psychos just end up going crazy out here and doing all of this wild, outlandish stuff. Kind of makes you wonder. But, Rain Love, you are absolutely correct. Becky is lying. No schools are teaching CRT. Teenagers do not like chores, right? But the other part that you really needed to focus in on is what she said. He's finding safety in numbers. That's a dog whistle for a woman. Look how uncode she is for white supremacy. She's willing to sell out her black son to stay on white supremacist code. Because another thing, he's finding safety in numbers, meaning you don't have any control over what you're viewing as his enlightenment of himself, because he is a black man and the world sees him as that. So with him being a black man, now with the reality of him having to live in that lifestyle, because let's keep it a buck, he may be one of the mixed kids that's like maybe more brown. So he might be way more visibly black than your typical mixed child. Because I mean, I know mixed folks that I never even thought, I would have never thought they were mixed until I met their parents. I was like, damn, I didn't even know you was mixed. But their father's genes were so strong that shit. So I've seen some mixtures. Father's genes are so damn strong. You have to look at the like, oh, okay, I didn't even see it because you don't have a mixed complexion. But very interesting. She come on national TV talking about he's feeling safety in numbers. Oh, is he becoming a black identity extremist? Just weird verbiage for a mother talking about her child to men that are not of that son's community. That's her community. But those men don't have any tie to that man. That's where the separation happens. White men know that, oh yeah, he gonna stay over there. Mixed with his own kind. If he ever had to go behind them walls, he'll learn that lesson real quick. I'm mixed. No, you're not. You black. Them over there is for you. If you want to be over here, you're going to be an Aryan, brother. You'll be the most mixed, tattooed with anti-black tattoos ever. And then you got to come home, and now you out here looking crazy as a mixed dude. I've seen it. I've seen it happen. And some of them things, they get screwed up in the head too. So here's the last joint, and I'm sure y'all have seen this story. This is the last of the Instagram stories. And again, America does not disappoint in the racism department. Man, bravo, America. You for the win again.
12 school for gifted children in the country, priding themselves on diversity and an alternative education, costing upwards of $30,000 a year. Part of that curriculum included this worksheet, passed out assigned in a high school biology class earlier this month in Birmingham. It's titled An Introduction to Primates and instructs students to pick from a gallery of photos labeled apes, monkeys, and lemurs. Among the photos, a picture of former President Barack Obama. The person who sent this to Fox 2 anonymously, appalled at the racist messaging coming from a teacher.
You said Obama doesn't care to the Queen. Absolutely. No, he don't. He don't give a damn. But he never gave a damn. I mean, because he never saw himself like us anyway. He just sees us to always use us to use us. That's it. That is absolutely it. So without further ado, we are going to get into our Malcolm X tribute right after this brief, super duper brief intermission. This is the weekly wrap up.
Tick faster. That'll be the hour they knock the slick blaster. Tick dastardly, a monthly with sick laughter. A gunfight and they come to cut the mix master. And living the true gods. Giving y'all nothing but the lick like two broads. Got more lyrics than the church got ooh lords. And they hold the mic at your attention like two swords. Or you the one with two blades on it. Hey you, don't touch the mic like it's AIDS on it.
All right. So as you know how we do around here, if you are new, we tend to salute our greats. Especially we love to celebrate our greats and our powerful fallen leaders, and even sometimes our leaders that are still with us. And in this case, we are going to be dealing with Brother Malcolm X, whose birthday was yesterday. And I came across a brilliant exchange with him and some random white dude. And you'll hear what's going on, but you're gonna hear a lot of familiar sounding points coming out of the callers and this white dude that he's debating. You're gonna hear a lot of familiar sounding talking points. Now, mind you, you're listening to Malcolm X. The brother has been dead for 1966. The 66, 65, that brother passed. So, damn. 65, okay. So, without further ado, a brilliant beatdown of the mind by one Brother Malcolm X.
Organizations, and you classify the black nationalists and, of course, the Muslims as extremist organizations. How do you appraise this political warfare that's going on in the black nationalist organization?
Well, to be perfectly frank with you, and I do believe in speaking frankly, I think at the moment the Muslims are a dying organization. They're on the way out. They've made no impact in the Negro community nationally at any point, and even less so now. Malcolm has no place to go, which is why he's floundering so badly. For example, he's been breaking bread with the communists downtown.
Wait a minute. What communists have I been
Socialist Workers' Party.
You're absolutely out of your mind. I have never broken bread.
You have given several speeches, which they have
that's not
reprinted.
I speak anywhere. I spoke in London, England.
You were very proud to go back several times, and they're reprinting one of your major addresses in the Militant.
I spoke in a church in Rochester a couple of nights ago. Does that make me a Methodist?
We're not talking about churches. We're talking about the Socialist Workers' Party.
Just because you speak somewhere doesn't make you that. You speak to the public, and you speak on any platform.
Oh, I don't, Malcolm.
And I speak to the public, and I speak on any platform.
I'm afraid that's not the case,
If speaking on the socialist platform makes me a socialist, then when I speak in a Methodist church,
I'm a communist platform.
I was in Selma, Alabama last week speaking in Martin Luther King's church. Does that make me a follower of Martin Luther King? No, your line of reasoning, sir, doesn't fit me.
Well, I'm just saying that I was asked the question by Stan, and I think that at the moment the nationalist movement has no place to go. They're floundering, and they're putting out lines everywhere. And there is an alliance in the general Harlem area between some of the Peking-based communists, the Progressive Labor Movement, and some of the others, the Bill Epton crowd. Bill Epton is a self-confessed avowed communist. You'd agree to that, wouldn't you, Malcolm?
I know nothing about what Bill Epton's political philosophy is. Bill Epton, in my opinion, is one of the militant leaders in Harlem. Now, what his political beliefs are, I think that he has a right to them.
I didn't say he didn't have a right. I'm just saying what he is.
Well,
and he has stated to me
whatever
personally.
they are,
I've interviewed him. He told me he's an avowed communist.
So whatever they are, he has a right to.
He'd like to see the system of ours completely junked as well. All I'm saying is that there's a lot of warfare.
I think you'll find that a lot of the children that are out there in Brooklyn are on the rampage against the segregated school system here in New York City.
May I speak?
And King and some of his followers in Alabama right now who are fighting against the same system.
But you don't let other people speak, Malcolm.
Well, say your words.
I'm trying to. You would be kind enough to let me speak.
Go right ahead, Mr. Hall.
Well, at any rate, they're floundering now, and there's a lot of internecine warfare going on in the Harlem section, and most of the movements are small and splintered, and there are splinters of splinters, and I suppose only the future will tell which one will emerge victorious and perhaps claim the most members. I would make a prediction, and I think we could come back a year from now, Sten, and I think you may find Malcolm preaching a completely separate doctrine of leading some other kind of a movement.
Well, you know, one of the best compliments that Dr. Hall here can pay me is just the things that he says. When he begins to pat me on the back, I'll be worried.
I'm not patting you on the back. I told you up in Boston that
when you
give a little time and you'll be preaching a new line, and you are.
When you begin to pat me on the back, I'll be worried. When you begin, people of your profession, who make a profession out of dealing with groups in this country, when you begin to pat me on the back, then I'll be worried, sir. Now, I would advise you, if you think that nationalism has no influence whatsoever, the Nationalists, the Organization of Afro-American Unity, are having a rally at the Audubon Ballroom on Broadway.
You mentioned it earlier. You're getting in a couple of
I'm going to mention it again, that I wouldn't come on the program and not mention it, because one of the most difficult things for nationalists to do is to let the public know what they're doing. So we're having this rally at the Audubon.
I know the public is engaged in a vast conspiracy against you.
You're going to make me mention it 4 or 5 times. We're having this rally. We're having this rally at the Audubon Ballroom this coming Sunday at 2 o'clock, and people just like you who consider themselves experts on nationalists are given front seat invitations. And I would advise you, since it's your profession to know what nationalists and other so-called extremists are doing, to come and be our guest. Now, one thing I'd like to point out too, Dr. Hall. Whenever you find black...
You know perfectly well I'm not a doctor, Malcolm.
Well, you sound like an expert on something. I thought you were a doctor. Whenever you find the condition that black people are confronted by in this country, being permitted by the government to exist so long, the condition in itself is extreme. And any black man who really feels about this situation that our people are confronted by, his feelings are extreme. You can't take a cough syrup and cure somebody who has pneumonia. And the black people are becoming more extreme every day. I was in Alabama a couple of weeks ago before I went to England, down there with Dr. King and some of the others who are trying to just register and vote. Now, I'll tell you frankly, with King is supposed to be the most moderate, most conservative, most loving, most endorsed, most supported.
Now, the word is responsible, but go ahead.
Okay, responsible to the white power structure. To me, when white people talk about responsible...
He's a responsible American. That's
when people like you usually refer to Negroes as responsible, you mean Negroes who are responsible in the context of your type of thinking. So, getting right back to Dr. King, anytime you find a person who goes along with the government to the degree that Dr. King does, and still Dr. King's followers, children, are made to run down the road by brute policemen who are nothing but Klansmen, and the federal government can step in and do nothing about it, I will guarantee you that you are producing extremists by the thousands. Now, when I was down there, they wanted me to speak to the press, but didn't want me to speak to the church, or the children, or the students.
Let me ask you, Malcolm.
And it was the students themselves that insisted that I speak, that gave me the opportunity to speak.
Malcolm, how do you think that's going to be changed? How? I mean, I know you're talking about these children being made into extremists, but how is that situation going to be changed? Do you think by warfare?
It's not going to be changed by making believe that it doesn't exist to the intense degree that it exists, and it's not going to be changed by putting out polls like Newsweek magazine did last week, implying that Negroes are satisfied with the rate of progress. This is deluding yourself. And my contention is that white people do themselves a disservice by putting out these kind of things to make it appear that Negroes are satisfied when the most explosive situation racially that has ever existed in this country exists right now. And all of your so-called responsible leaders, when they speak about the situation, they say everything is in check. Yet every day you find Negro children becoming more explosive than they've ever been before.
You're not answering my question.
You're avoiding it. I asked you, how is it going to change? Is it going to change through extreme behavior? Let's call it extreme reaction. In other words, you are going to react extremely to a situation that you don't like. Now, how extreme can your reaction be?
Well, sir, when Russia put missiles in Cuba, the only thing that made Russia get her missiles out of Cuba was when America pointed missiles right back at Russia.
Are you suggesting revolution?
No, I'm saying this, that when you respect the intelligence of black people in this country as being equal to that of whites, then you will realize that the reaction of the black man to oppression will be the same as the reaction of the white man to oppression. The white man will not turn the other cheek when he's being oppressed. He will not practice any kind of love of a clan or a citizen council or anyone else. But at the same time, the white man is asking the black man to do this. So all I'm saying is, I absolutely believe the situation can be changed. But I don't think it can be changed by white people taking a hypocritical approach, pretending that it is not as bad as it is, and by black leaders, so-called responsible leaders, taking a hypocritical approach, trying to make white people think that black people are patient and long-suffering and are willing to sit around here a long time or a great deal of time longer until the problem is made better.
Let's go back to the phone. The WINS contact number, Judson 26405. This is Contact. You're on the air.
Hello, Malcolm.
Yes?
The Ku Klux Klan should get you.
Thank you very much.
Let me point something out to this lady. I'm invited to Mississippi next week. I'll be going to Mississippi next week. The Ku Klux Klan will have all the opportunity it wants to get me. I was in Alabama last week. They had an opportunity then. You don't always have to go down south to find the Ku Klux Klan. Evidently, one is your father, or you wouldn't be able to speak as you do.
This is Contact. You're on the air.
Yes, I'd like to ask Mr. Barnett a question. In Louis Lomax's book, When the Word is Given, he says, none of the rumors about Muslims receiving help from outside, communist or segregationist sources has proved true. Does Mr. Barnett have any information that will verify or refute that statement?
I didn't quite get it, but Mr. Barnett has left the room. He's left the studio during this last part of the debate, and he's not here to answer it.
Can Mr. Hall answer it?
Can Mr. Hall answer it? I didn't quite understand your question. Can you quote that again for us?
Yes. Louis Lomax says that none of the rumors about Muslims receiving help from outside, communist or segregationist sources has proved true. And I'd like to know what they think about this.
I would agree with Mr. Lomax's statement on that. I think that's an actual statement. I'm not so sure that is applicable to other militant groups in the Negro community, but I think it's applicable to the Muslims.
I'm not sure.
Because they don't get any help from outside sources.
She was talking about outside communist or segregationist sources.
Yeah. Do they get any help from inside segregationist sources?
I would
doubt
you're the expert. I would doubt that very much. I have no evidence of it, and neither do you. And if you do, then
I'm not saying
put
that
up,
I do.
Malcolm. But you're implying. You're a very fly implier.
You essentially, because you give me the impression all of a sudden that you're a protector of the black Muslim movement.
Not a bit. Not a bit.
When it comes to rallying them against the black nationalists, because you know that the black Muslim movement is in a bag and has no place to go.
I'm the one, just to show you how faulty your logic is. Let me speak. Just to show you how faulty your logic is, I arranged for the Saturday Evening Post story, which you have praised with your own mouth tonight as the best thing ever written on the black Muslim.
Not because you arranged it.
I arranged
it. It's the best, not because you arranged it.
I arranged it.
That doesn't make it best. It's best because
Aubrey wrote it. Mr. Hall is saying that he arranged for it to be written because he thought it was valid and valuable.
What he arranged, what he did is immaterial to me. I'm not commenting on...
You never want to louse up an argument with facts, Malcolm.
I'm not commenting on what you did. It's immaterial to me.
But you said it was a wonderful
piece. I'm saying that what Aubrey did. Aubrey is the one who did the piece. You can arrange for Rockwell to write a piece.
Aubrey came to me.
You can arrange for
Rockwell
because he
knew that I could get the story told in the best fashion.
You can arrange for Rockwell. You can arrange for the Klan to write a piece.
No, I could not.
So that
I
doesn't.
Could not.
What you can arrange doesn't impress me.
Malcolm, you know perfectly well that I could, and that's just a smear.
You could, sir. Oh. You're a mercenary. No, you're a professional. You said that yourself. That's why I called the doctor.
Can we go on to our next call? No.
I like him when he talks this way because he exposes himself.
No, I'm exposing you as a mercenary.
Here we go,
an
fellas.
opportunist.
It's the next call time. Here we go. This is Contact. You're on the air.
I'd like to direct the question to Malcolm X.
Go ahead.
I've heard him on a newsreel say that Charlie's enemies are his enemies, and this was supposed to refer to the white man as Charlie.
Charlie is the Ku Klux Klan and the White Citizens Council.
Right.
And white people who practice discrimination and segregation against black people.
Right. Then I'd like to ask you something about what you mentioned about aid from Red China.
I've never mentioned anything about aid from Red China. Ask Dr. Hall. He's an expert. I think he'll even have to agree to that.
Excuse me, I ask you if the aid to fight Charlie came from the Red Chinese, would you accept it? And you said from anybody.
Well, that doesn't specify Red China. I said this, that when you're in the den of a wolf, and a fox comes along and asks you for help, or offers to help you, you'll accept help from any source available against that wolf.
Right. Yeah, but they asked
This doesn't mean that you love foxes.
Did they specify?
It doesn't mean that you love foxes.
Did they specify when they asked you the question whether
I don't think they said the Chinese, Communist China.
They did.
If I recall, and I could be wrong, but if I recall, I don't think they said specified Communist China. But although let me say this about Communist China. China is a nation of 700 million people. Physically, they exist. Physically, they exist. I don't go along with the American reaction of pretending that 700 million Chinese don't exist. When I was in Africa during the summer, everywhere I looked, I saw Chinese. It's only when I get back to America that I don't see any Chinese. I just don't think it's mature to pretend that 700 million people don't exist.
That doesn't happen to be U.S. policy to pretend that they don't exist. Now, can you just say things that aren't so?
No, well, I mean,
the United States is well aware of Red China.
She certainly is. They just detonated some nuclear bombs over there. Plus, her forces have the United States soldiers tied down in Saigon. She'd have to be well aware. She has half of your forces tied up. Well, you'd be crazy not to be aware of her existence. But at the same time, you're trying to give the public impression over here, the people, the impression over here that they don't exist.
You're just saying that that's not the case at all.
They're human beings, the same as you and I are.
So you of course, espouse recognition of Red China and admission to the United Nations.
Many of your senators in Washington, D.C. espouse the same thing. I think most intelligent, progressive people who are up to date in their thinking have finally reached intellectual and political maturity to the point where they feel that when you got that many people on this earth, you better recognize them and deal with them as human beings, and then they will deal with you as human beings. If you say that you shouldn't deal with them because they are communists, then why deal with Russia? Or if you say that you shouldn't deal with them because they fought United Nations forces in Korea, then why deal with Shombi? Shombi also fought United Nations forces in Katanga. If you use the same yardstick to measure these people all of the time, I think you'll end up with better results.
All right, let's go on to our next call. Our WINS contact number, Judson 26405. This is Stan Bernard Contact. You're on the air.
Hello?
Yes.
Malcolm, I'd like to ask you whether you feel that the recent action of the Gaullist government in refusing you entry into France is in any way inconsistent with France's general policy towards the Afro-Asian community and Africa in particular.
Yes, I dispatched a wire to Dean Rusk, the Secretary of State here today, demanding an investigation into the reason why the French government could ban an American citizen and no reaction come from the American embassy whatsoever. But I might point out, I was in Paris last November and was successful in organizing a good organization, which another one that Dr. Hall over here can investigate in his capacity, in the American Negro community in Paris. And they have been working in conjunction with the African community, and it was the African community and the Afro-American community in Paris that invited me there to address a mass rally, and the French government permitted my entry into that country. And I might point out that it was the communist trade union workers in Paris that refused to let them have the hall initially, blocked their attempt to get the second hall, and eventually exercised influence in the French government to stop it. With the communist trade union workers, one of the largest unions in that country. And the reason I was in London, I had been invited there to attend the first Congress that had been given by the Council of African Organizations, who had a 4-day Congress, invited me to make the closing address because they were interested in the struggle of the black man in this country in his quest for human dignity and human rights.
Okay, we're going to move on to our next call. This is Contact. You're on the air.
Hello?
Yes.
May I speak to Malcolm X, please?
Yes, go right ahead.
I would like to, I don't have a question for Malcolm X. I would like to tell him that I am 100% with him for whatever he goes along with to helping the Negroes. And I think it's an awful shame that anyone should bomb or throw a bomb into a house where there is human beings, particularly children. And I don't go along at all with the Muslim so-called Muslims at all, because to me they're only teaching hate.
Well, I confess that I was one of the leaders in projecting the Muslim movement and causing so many people to believe in the distorted version of Islam that is taught there. But at the same time, I have to point out that there are some progressive elements, right-meaning persons in the black Muslim movement. All of them are not wrong. There are many in there who mean well, but are just being misled by the hierarchy, many of which do not mean well. But there is a large progressive element within the movement, and usually they are the ones who come in, they stay a year, and they get disillusioned, and they go back out. But I was responsible for giving the people the impression that the black Muslim movement was more than what it is, and I take that responsibility. You can put the complete blame upon me, but at the same time that I take that responsibility, I want to point out that no white man or white group or agency can use me against Elijah Muhammad or against the black Muslim movement. When you hear me open up my mouth against another black man, no white man can put words in my mouth, nor no white man can sick me on another black group. When I have analyzed the man and the group with my own understanding and feel that it is detrimental to the interest of the black community, then I'm going to attack it with that same intensity.
Gordon, you were going to say something.
Well, again, as you know, it's more words, and he began by saying that he has to confess that he was responsible for misleading so many people on the Muslim count. There were never very many Muslims. Let's always come back to the fact that not very many people were ever misled. The white press was misled into believing there were a lot of Muslims.
Dr. Hall.
There were never more than 15,000 Muslims in America, and there are only now 6,000, and we have 22 million Negroes in the United States. Keep these facts uppermost in one's mind.
Well, you admitted this at the very beginning, Malcolm. You said the 15,000 figure is correct.
Here's another fact.
These are facts, Malcolm.
Here's another fact you have to keep in mind. There never were many Mau Mau. There never were. There were always more Kikuyu, more Kenyans than Mau Mau.
What is this supposed to prove?
But it was the Mau Mau who brought independence to Kenya.
Yes, but
and the man who was regarded as an extremist and a monster just 5 years ago, Jomo Kenyatta, is the president of the Republic of Kenya today. And it is this same man who 5 years ago...
The situation in colonial Africa is not like it is in the United States.
Well, this is colonial. And anytime you have a system in 1965 that will take children and let them be marched down the road by not criminal elements.
In numbers, you have to draw one big analogy. In the United States, the Negro is still a minority in the United States. And when you're talking about minorities, you start boiling it all down, you can't really draw that analogy of a colony.
I say this, that the Mau Mau was also a minority, a microscopic minority, but it was the Mau Mau who not only brought independence to Kenya,
within a vast Negro majority.
But it but it's still that wick. The powder keg is always larger than the wick. The smallest thing in the powder keg is the wick. You can touch the powder all day long and nothing happens. It's the wick that you touch that sets the powder off.
I think it'll blow up.
It's the wick that you touch that sets the powder off. And if you go here in Harlem and you take all these moderate Negroes that Dr. Hall here puts the stamp of approval on and regards them as responsible, they don't explode. It's the wick. It's that small element that you refer to as nationalists and other...
You're doing all you can to encourage it, Malcolm.
Not encourage.
With your inflammatory and demagogic language.
I don't encourage it, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it doesn't exist.
Don't you incite, Malcolm?
I don't think so. I don't. How are you going to incite people who are living in slums and ghetto? It's the city structure that incites. A city that continues to let people live in rat nest dens in Harlem and pay higher rent in Harlem than they pay downtown. This is what incites it. Who lets merchants outcharge or overcharge people for their groceries and their clothing and other commodities in Harlem while you pay lesser for it downtown. This is what incites it. A city that will not create some kind of employment for people who are barred from having jobs just because their skin is black. That's what incites it. Don't ever accuse a black man for voicing his resentment and dissatisfaction over the criminal condition of his people as being responsible for inciting a situation. You have to indict the society that allows these things to exist. And this is where I differ with Dr. Hall.
We differ in many places, Malcolm.
This is one of the many places, Dr. Hall, where we differ.
Well, in a sense, didn't Hitler also talk about different points of view? Didn't he say that conditions existed, and didn't he also incite people?
Well, I don't know anything about Hitler. I wasn't in Germany. I'm in America.
Don't please.
I say I wasn't in. I say I don't know anything about Hitler. I wasn't in Germany, but I have.
You know about Hitler.
Well, you can't point to Hitler in Germany. behind what's going on here in America? Turn on the television tonight and see what they're doing. No. Turn on the television tonight and see what they're doing with Dr. King. Turn on. Now, this is
Dr. King's methods are not your
still,
methods.
Dr. King goes along.
You couldn't do in Alabama what he is doing.
Sir?
You could not
Sir,
do in
you better
Alabama
pray that
what
I
he
don't
is
go and try and do what he's doing. Anytime Dr. King... Anytime Dr. King goes along with people like you, you should put forth more effort to keep him out of jail. You should put forth more effort to protect him. Then you should put forth more effort to protect the people who go along with him and display this love and this patience. If you would do more for those people and spend some of your time trying to help those people instead of trying to attack me, probably this country would be a much better place in which to live. You spend too much of your time, doctor, trying to investigate.
I rarely ever mention you, Malcolm. You're hardly worth mentioning.
You spend too much of your time, doctor, running around trying to keep track of dissatisfied black people whom you label as extremists.
Hardly.
Whereas if you would spend some of your time in these places where Dr. King is fighting, then you would make this country a better place to live in.
Malcolm, I lectured all over the state of Alabama when you had nothing to do with the Muslims.
Did you have on a white sheet? Did you have on a white sheet?
Gentlemen, time. Bell. Here we go. Bell. Okay, that's round 15. We just had it.
Dr. Hall, come up to the Audubon Sunday at 2 o'clock, and we'll continue it from there.
I have
Gentlemen,
important things to do.
We have to move on. Time has run out. I'd like to thank all of you for showing up tonight. Thank you very much, Gordon, Malcolm, and, of course, Aubrey Barnett.
Yes. Hooey, that was the great Malcolm X in a debate like you have probably never heard before. He said, I used to have debates, so was you in the white sheet? Oh boy. He blazed him. So yes, if you guys need to get you a good run back of that, by all means, please play this for your family and friends, because again, these are the type of things that we have been dealing with as a culture, as a community. All the things that they were trying to trip him up on way back then is the same thing they sit up here and do now. You can be in any random space with Tariq Nasheed and watch one of these white supremacists come up and then try to start throwing certain stuff in there. It's not new. It's a very old tactic. Here's something else that came out in that interview. The indictment of society. And this is one thing I want to keep stressing as well. Because a lot of people try to get off on, well, it was this or it was that. No, all of society was on board with our oppression. So all society needs to be on board with fixing it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he said, thank you for playing that, nigga. Absolutely. Because I want to make sure that, y'all get as much of this good, strong information as possible, because there's a lot of bull out here right now. Cine J, welcome. So yeah, we gotta definitely make sure we give information to the people, and information from people that we listen to and read and admire, And that's not to say that that's a worship thing. That's an admire somebody who came before you and in a kind of a blueprint and a standard of how to carry yourself in the future. Now, of course, when you get that baton, you go forward and you make it do what it do in your lane. So this is why we have so many different people right now in the space, speaking their lane, but all representing the code, all representing the truth. And one little other piece, shout out, speaking of in their lane, brother Nas Escobar, I believe he's the one who posted this. If I'm incorrect about that, please forgive me. But here's one other little public speech of Brother Malcolm's. Man, it's a very short clip. So real quick before we get ready to get up out of here.
Night, and this rabbi, who was also on the panel, spent all of his time trying to get the so-called Negroes in the audience to weep over what Hitler did to the Jews. What you look like weeping over what Hitler did, and you haven't yet learned how to weep over what Uncle Sam is doing to you right now. Everything that Hitler did in Germany, he learned it from Uncle Sam. Hitler was not the author of white supremacy. Uncle Sam was practicing white supremacy long before Hitler was born. And Uncle Sam was burning black people in this country long before Hitler ever heard of the Jews. So when these Jews come up in your face trying to get you to cry for them over what happened to them, you tell them you don't have any tears left. You have shed too many tears for your own kind.
Okay, thank you, Nikki. So yes, shout out to Nas Escobar getting that out there. And again, listen to how relevant that is to us today. They want us to be all compassionate for these neo-Nazis over here, these Ukrainians. See how things work. So here, worry about these people, man. They ain't going through it, man. Oh man, it's all bad for them. No, it's been all bad for us. What we're saying now is we're tired of it being that way for us. And we refuse to allow this to go on this way any longer. We are demanding our tangibles. We are demanding our protection legally by the government. There should not be any law on the books protecting any other group that does not already have us before it in the books of protection. And anybody coming around you or anything you're trying to do with this statement in their mouth, oh man, they ain't never gonna. That is one thing that we have to learn how to eliminate out of our conversation and out of our thinking. Like I said, if you're worried about what somebody ain't never gonna give, you are not a person who has your mind on seizing power. And that's something to be mindful of because, we get used to a lot of things because of centuries of trauma and centuries of having nonstop involvement with the great Satan. So what we are looking for now is a resolve to that matter. And they see that. And they're on alert. So we have to be on alert. They're in fear of being replaced. They never had big numbers to begin with. They always needed to use deception. So it's not like it's a dwindling thing. No, you were never over exceeding your numbers. Never. Never. That's a lie. But when you control what goes out as what history is, then everybody else is just left to fend with what they can find to be the truth in whatever scraps you allow them to sift through. And I would advise then, don't read something and just take everything for face value. Understand how to sift through the bones. And I'm talking about like, there are people who have went through even the Bible and broke down words and changes of words where they were changed between the original script and English. Now, if you are that dedicated, then that's what I'm saying. For people who move in these lanes, who are dedicated to do the depth in research, find the difference in meanings of words. These people need to be honored and respected. Unfortunately, in our culture, we tend to look down on them people. Like, for instance, on my Facebook page, which I'm barely on because my Facebook timeline is full of coonery. So when I post something, it's always some slick shit that somebody got something to say. Here I am making a post about the 10 fallen slain and us needing a protection bill. Why is there a black broad up here laughing? The laughing emoji. So that's her response. Now, of course, this is the same mammy to which I've already addressed on this broadcast before. She asked a silly question. I don't answer stupid questions from coons. So if you're watching this right now and wondering why I ignored what you asked, I will no longer respond to a staunch, stupid ass coon asking stupid ass questions because you think it's cool and funny to be a coon. Well, it ain't. And for the record, I absolutely hate all coons with a fervent hatred. And it's a righteous hatred. I wish nothing good for you because you've been nothing but a detriment to us. May the Lord work that problem out. We do things differently around here. Dogs run the yard. Y'all want real leadership? Better seize it. Because these people ain't teaching you how to do it. So when you got all these little cowards up here talking about this ain't the way to do it, how the hell would you know? All you've ever been a slave, and that's what they taught you to do. So when you come to us, don't come to us talking that, you ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna say what I would like to say on this broadcast because this is YouTube. But F you. And everything about your plight. I'm telling y'all better start adopting this new energy, man. I mean, it ain't new for me, but I mean, y'all better start adopting this energy, man. Because for real, stop taking this shit off these people. And stop letting these people come around you lying to you. No. Democratic traitor Shields ain't got no place to speak. I don't give a damn how old they is. If they coming in there talking that Democratic line versus black first line, cut that shit off. You ain't owed them people nothing. Stop letting them use the usual tools to dupe you. And one of them is, I love Big Mama. Big Mama gonna have to STF you. Because we don't play that shit around here. You stay on code or you sit your ass down. Y'all better stop playing with folks. Because as long as you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. So like I'm saying, and like we all do say around here, reparations is going to have to take place. And that protection bill is going to have to take place. And if you do not understand where we stand, well, we going to let the preacher man tell you what time it is over here.
First was the controversial Reverend Jeremiah Wright.
I say America, America's mother, America's daddy, America can eat a dick, America can lick the balls.
Teach your man how to squabble. Get that trigger next time, nigga.
Babylon is falling. Babylon is falling. Let it fall and let us rise. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at beatzillapdx. You can follow me on Facebook, beatzillapdx. You can follow me on Patreon, beatzillapdx official, and you can follow me on Melanated People at Michael Beatzilla Whitmore. You can also email me at ourrealtruth@gmail.com. That is ourrealtruth@gmail.com. And of course, if you feel so inclined to put some money in the bucket, you can definitely do so by, like Brother Phil say, you can leave that love offering. You can drop off the love offering, just drop it in the bucket at CashApp, $Beatzillapdx. That is CashApp, $Beatzillapdx. Also, we have PayPal, and at PayPal, that is Zilla Muzak. That is ZILLAMUZAK. And so with that being said, family, I hope y'all have a blessed, prosperous, safe, relaxing weekend, at least peaceful. If you're getting into something, at least it's peaceful. No male interaction, unwarranted, unnecessary. And again, always remember from the elder.
We put it in the frame of reference. Everyone, when they talk about racism and white supremacy, should always start by saying that the focus, the objective should be replace white supremacy with justice. Those are the 5 basic words.
What can I say? Y'all have a blessed weekend, y'all. Stay safe, stay free, stay alive. But also, stay vigilant. Head on a swivel, because we got some crazies out here, and they are feeling like they are being replaced. Power tools. Because you never have any excuse to put in some work. Shalom, y'all.
When you know who Satan is, yes, sir, you don't have to kill him. No. The stone of truth. Yes. See, that's what you throw. Yes, right. Allah says, had we wished to take a pastime from before, surely we would have done it. Nay, we cast truth at falsehood till we knock out its brains. Every one of you that knows the truth, stand up and tell it from the mountaintop. Black people can't take it no more. So wherever you are, on the job, in the factory, I don't care where you are. If you know the truth, stand up on the truth and tell Satan, who the hell are you to try and pick my friends? Farrakhan is God's man, and you are from the enemy of God. So to hell with you. Stand up on it like a man.